Hello there. It's a red letter day for all the Indians, for the world, and especially for ISRO. The hour has arrived when Chandrayaan 3 would be launched, and it would be kissing the heights of the skies to achieve the target of landing on the dark side of the moon. India's lunar mission to achieve an extraordinary milestone by landing at the south pole of the moon, where the presence of water molecules was initially discovered during India's inaugural moon mission in 2008. India is determined to become the fourth nation to successfully accomplish a soft landing on the moon, following the footsteps of United States, the Soviet Union at that time, China and Israel. Among these countries, all except Israel was able to achieve this feat. If Chandrayaan 3 achieves a triumphant soft landing on the lunar surface, India will become and it will join this esteemed group as the fourth nation to reach this significant milestone. On Tuesday, ISRO had announced through a tweet that the launch rehearsal for Chandrayaan 3 has been successfully concluded. This rehearsal involved a comprehensive simulation of entire launch preparation and the process spanning a duration of 24 hours. Now, Chandrayaan's rover is equipped with two scientific instruments called payloads, the alpha particle X-ray spectrometer and the laser-inducted breakdown spectroscope. The APXS will play a crucial role in analyzing the composition of the lunar soil and rocks near the landing site, focusing on elements such as magnesium, aluminum, silicon, potassium, calcium, titanium, and iron. Its findings will provide valuable insights into the elemental makeup of the lunar surface.
Definitely that the success of this mission will give a morale boost for the people to do the other work, which otherwise also people are doing because they are independent. They are no way they are linked. This one. So Gaganyaan program is going on its own way with a very strong way, and Aditya L1 mission also going in a big way. So that mission will be taken care separately with its own technological difficulties and with the capabilities.
No, it's going to be a game changer. I'm assuming and I hope that it will be a successful mission, because whatever is the problem in Chandrayaan 2, actually we are correcting the whole thing through a failure. From the failure we have understood all mistakes what we have done, and we have corrected all those things. So hopefully this will be a grand success. Afterwards, this could make some kind of an inspiration to the entire country. I'm happy to note that the entire country is now anxiously waiting for this launch. That is something interesting. I'm very happy about it.
We have shown to the world a historical mission Chandrayaan 1. A follow-on logical was a soft landing on the moon, but unfortunately we could not make it. So in that series, definitely it is time for us to prove, yes, Chandrayaan only is not an isolated success. We can do it once again. So that way Chandrayaan 3 soft landing and doing an in situ analysis on the moon is a paramount importance for India to show it is not an isolated success. Chandrayaan 1, we can do it. Point 2 is once again get back the whole of India. What we have gathered with Chandrayaan 1 followed by Mangalyaan, I think that same spirit, I think we can take the people away up there. Beyond all these things, internationally look at here, the whole world is looking as back to the moon is a way the big mission. For that, real seeding came from Chandrayaan 1. So having done that, when the world is going back to the moon, India cannot lag behind.
21वीं सदी की दुनिया टेक्नोलॉजी और टैलेंट के दम पर ही आगे बढ़ेगी। भारत और फ्रांस के बीच साझेदारी का ये बहुत बड़ा आधार है। हमारा स्पेस प्रोग्राम इसका प्रमाण है। थुम्बा में जब साउडिंग रॉकेट स्टेशन के निर्माण की बात आई तो फ्रांस ही था जो मदद के लिए आगे आया। उसके बाद से हम दोनों देशों ने स्पेस सेक्टर में बहुत लंबा सफर तय किया है। आज हम एक दूसरे के सैटेलाइट्स लॉन्च कर रहे हैं और आपको खुशी होगी, अभी जब मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूं तो भारत में चंद्रयान 3 की लॉन्चिंग के लिए रिवर्स काउंटिंग की गूंज सुनाई दे रही है। कुछ ही घंटों बाद भारत के श्रीहरिकोटा से ये ऐतिहासिक लॉन्च होने जा रहा है।
It's going to be a historic launch, the launch of Chandrayaan 3 from Sriharikota launch. And I'm sure this is going to herald India's quantum leap in the global arena. India has already reached a pedestal as far as its scientific and technological capabilities are concerned. We had a very rich success story as far as the COVID vaccine is concerned, and now this Chandrayaan 3 is going to reiterate India's indigenous capabilities and also firmly place India as an important global player to reckon with. And I think it's been a huge, it's been a remarkable journey, an incredible journey, a miraculous turn of events. We started out much later compared to many other countries like the USA and the USSR. And even though some of these where they reached the moon before us, it was our series of Chandrayaan 1 which picked up the evidence of the presence of surface on the presence of water on the surface of the moon, which became handy even for the premier agencies like NASA to do their future experiments.
So there we heard from top leaders, top scientists, how the Chandrayaan 3 launch is counting down now. In just a few moments from now, the launch would take place.
The rocket, in the meantime, is 1.59 kilometers per second. At an altitude of 71 kilometers, closed loop guidance is initiated for LVM-3. Separation of payload fairing takes place at 195 seconds past the launch at an altitude of 115 kilometers. The core 110 stage, having completed its burn time of about 200 seconds, is separated from the ongoing rocket. This event takes place at 306 seconds into the flight. At this point of time, the altitude will be 175 kilometers.
So there you see
the rocket would have
visuals from inside the control center at the Sriharikota launching center. We saw, there we see ISRO chief right in the middle, and we saw former ISRO chiefs also sitting in audience with bated breaths, watching the developments as we count down to the launch of Chandrayaan 3. It is our honor to have today been joined by two eminent guests, masters of their field, and their contribution too is what we salute. Please welcome Sujay Sridhar, co-founder and chairman, Society for Space Education, Research and Development, and CEO, Genex Space, and S. Pal Singh, Surendra Pal Singh, former distinguished scientist and senior advisor, ISRO. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking time out. The visuals on the screen, as you can also see, are something that are making their way into the history, both in terms of the visual delight and also the kind of achievement that India is inching towards. Mr. Pal, let me begin with you first. Obviously, it's a moment, a red letter day, and the butterfly in the stomach situation, everyone would be very anxious, to get closer to the main launching time. What are your initial thoughts, and how do you see these preparations going on television, and how do you feel?
Well, I'm equally excited as the whole country is excited, and I'm quite hopeful that we will be able to land on moon. You know, many things we have done it in the past. So actually, the landing will be a new phenomena. And if the soft landing takes place, soft landing means it's like, landing a helicopter on the ground. That sort of impact will be there. So if the
We
soft
bring to
landing takes
you
place,
a small
the
clipping
rover
of the
will go,
integration
then we will be
review
the
for
fourth
the
country, as every one of you know about it, and we will be near the southern pole. So many scientific experiments
all
will
the
be
TV
done.
screens you are watching right now
Actually,
is
if you
from
see, it's a
the
sequel
civil
to
building,
the,
civil building
Chandrayaan 2.
where
The
the
orbiter is
previous
working. So only we have to go to the
384
lander
rocket has
and the
been
rover.
assembled.
So if it,
The strap on
hopefully, because
boosters
a lot
getting
of things have
assembled
been
segment by
modified,
segment.
a lot of analysis has been done, a triple redundancy has been
Each
put even in
instrument
the
grid
software.
has got
So I
three
feel we'll
segments
be 100%
called
successful in this
nozzle
regard,
segment,
and
inlet
we'll be the
segment,
fourth
and
country,
end segment,
and I think whole country will be proud of it.
which the nozzle is
Right,
assembled.
Sujay, your thoughts, initial
Once after
thoughts
the
on
other
this
segments
auspicious day.
are
Obviously, it's
joined
a giant
together.
leap, as we heard both from the Prime
When
Minister
you
and from the
see
Honorable
assembled
Minister
solid rocket
also.
booster is
But for
carried
India,
handheld,
no
carefully
doubt,
with
by any
safety being
measures,
lowered down
it's
to the
something
mobile launch
that
projectile
obviously
as an integrated
we would be cherishing it for the
rocket.
years to come.
The igniter assembly then takes
Right.
place
First of all, thank you for having
on the
me.
space.
And yes, it
The
is definitely
strap-on
a wonderful day
booster
for us. Especially we are attempting to land on the
on your
moon
TV
again.
screens
Uh,
with
as we all
the
know,
first
last time's attempt was
810
partially successful
stage
because we
for
couldn't
two
have a
second
soft landing on the
intensity
moon.
building
There
was
is a lot
maintained
of
and
pressure
assembly
on
between
ISRO
the
team as
distal
well to have
wings.
this land on the moon this time. With that, I think it's an important step for us towards our future, especially towards Gaganyaan as well as our future missions are concerned. It is an important day for us because this will define our future routes, how we are going to take. It's all a branch, and how that which route ISRO or as a nation we will take will totally depend on this mission. How it's going and what is its success, it will all depend on that. So it's an important day for us as Indians as well as people at the space industry. So we're looking forward to having a successful mission.
Right. Mr. Singh, obviously the dynamics and the dimensions and the whole composition of this particular rocket, especially which is going to take Chandrayaan 3 up in the skies. Many are calling it Bahubali. It has been improved from previous terms. Share with us some important features of Chandrayaan 3, right from the liftoff till the objective that it is going to achieve.
You see, we are following almost the same as the Chandrayaan 2, but there are some modifications. Some 11 modifications are there as compared to Chandrayaan 2. See, we will be using the orbiter which is already there of Chandrayaan 2. Now, there is a propulsion module which is carrying extra propulsion of the order of 500 kg, and that that lander is sitting on the propulsion module. It will take it there. Now we have got some important experiments on the propulsion module also. It's called spectropolarimetry. Okay, and it will analyze the light coming from the Earth. So that study will be useful in finding out the life in extraterrestrial way. That's another way of studying. So that's another one experiment which will be there on the propulsion module, which we did not have earlier. Second thing is that rover will have 2, 3 experiments, which will be studying the geology and the atmosphere of the moon, and the lander will have experiment. See, which will also have the seismologic study of the moon. Like but we had more number of experiments in Chandrayaan 1 and Chandrayaan 2, and their orbit is still working in. So all things together, Chandrayaan 2 orbiter plus Chandrayaan 3, together it will increase our knowledge of the celestial body that is moon. And the soft landing is an important parameter. See, there is no atmosphere. If you go to suppose Mars, like US has done it, you can have say parachute, then you can put a bubble around it, and then you can land it. like Discovery and others have done it, and when the US has. But here it's a tricky situation where we have to compensate against the moon's gravity. There is no atmosphere. You cannot have a parachute or anything else. You have to manage everything through the thrusters. Last
Right.
time we had five thrusters, now we are putting four, and it will compensate. There are sensors are there. There is a triple redundancy in the software. So I'm sure we'll be doing the soft landing this time. And once soft landing is done, rest of the things are there. So I mean, rover will also work. I'm quite hopeful because the way in which corrections have been applied, extra precautions have been taken, will be successful.
Right. Sujay, you heard Mr. Singh, and the dynamics of the rover and the lander obviously is something that makes it very unique. The visuals that we are playing on the screen for you are coming live from Sriharikota. There we have it. The rocket is ready, and we are counting down in just a moment of, say, 15 to 17 minutes. We should be seeing more movement and activity there. Obviously, in the viewing area, we saw in the front line, the minister was there. There we see the control room. These visuals, Sujay, if you could, explain to us how does this coordination work, these control rooms. I mean, we have similar control rooms here on, while broadcasting these visuals to you. And obviously, it gives us a similar feeling, but obviously the stakes are very high here. Sujay, two things I want to know from you. First, about what are the procedure before the launch, and secondly, we saw the second line of the second row there, right behind the former chiefs of ISRO and the minister. There were a lot of women also sitting there, and we all know their role in Chandrayaan 2 as well.
Right. So when it comes to the launch service or launch, what happens is a rocket is a very complex mechanism. What happens is you will only get one shot at launching your rocket into space. So you have to make sure before the launch happens, you have to make sure that all the systems in the rocket. So a rocket consists of a lot of different subsystems, we call it. As in, you have your guidance and navigation, you have communication, you have your propulsion system, such a lot of systems are there. And we have to make sure all of these things work in a synchronous way. And also we should make sure it is all safely executed, like the entire flight is safe. So when it comes to launch, what happens is the rocket, the countdown starts a couple of hours before the actual launch happens. So throughout the launch preparations, they do a preparation run, then do a pre-launch checklist. So basically, what they do is they make sure all the systems are ready to go, everything is working, including the payload subsystems, and all range is safe, and monitor the weather. All those things are monitored throughout this particular amount of time. Now, the people you are seeing are in charge of several things. So each of the person will have his own or her own specialization. Who will take care of certain things, like say one person will be in charge of your guidance and navigation, one person will be in charge of your propulsion, and there will be another person who is range safety. So which means while the rocket is flying, you have to make sure there are no airplanes or any other obstructions which will come to the rocket. Now, similarly, we have a mission control, mission director, where he is the authority who says, okay, whether we are going to go for launch or we are not going to go for the launch. So there are several people who are because their job is to make sure the launch happens and make sure the entire launch and the launch system and the satellite inside or the payload inside is safe and will reach the intended orbit in time.
Right.
That's how it works. And yes, as you said, Chandrayaan 2 had a lot of women scientists who are leading, and as well as Chandrayaan 3 have several of them leading certain subsystems and systems. And nowadays we are seeing a lot of involvement of women who are in charge of developing and building systems and satellites for us. Good trend.
Right, right. Indeed, Sujay, nice to see smiling faces all around, and the visuals at the Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota is a buzz, both inside and outside. These are the inside visuals. Journalists, families, scientists, they are there. And right before this, there we have the outside visuals. It's a dry weather in Andhra Pradesh's Sriharikota. But look at the people, the school kids, teachers, I'm sure families, journalists, all of them have
the day of launch,
converged.
mid-biasing data is fed during the countdown to the onboard computers to enable most suitable steering of the launch vehicle through atmosphere. Up next, we will watch a curtain raiser video on this mission.
Number 465, request CGSS to confirm supply of GN2 to Cryo.
Moon. This familiar object in the night sky has inspired the imagination of astronomers and ordinary people alike. From time immemorial, humans have marveled at the beauty of the moon, used it to count time and navigate the high seas. In modern times, Moon, the only natural satellite of the Earth, has acquired added importance due to the belief that Moon is the key to our understanding of the evolution of the solar system in general and Earth in particular. Besides, Moon's precious resources and low gravity have further endeared it to humans. India, a major spacefaring nation, has conducted a detailed exploration of the Moon through its Chandrayaan program. The country has sent 2 robotic spacecraft to orbit the Moon and to take a repeated look at its surface. Chandrayaan-1 demonstrated India's ability to reach the surface of the Moon at a place and time of its choice. And with it, India became the 4th country to reach the surface of the Moon in November 2008. Besides, Chandrayaan-1's conclusive discovery of water on the Moon in 2009 was praised as a path-breaking discovery. The follow-on mission, Chandrayaan-2, had an orbiter, a lander called Vikram, and a rover named Pragyan. In the past 4 years, the orbiter has repeatedly observed the lunar surface and even today is working satisfactorily. Now, 3,900 kilograms, Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft is being sent to the Moon with the objective of making yet another focused attempt to slowly land on the lunar surface and to explore it with the help of a rover. Following the spacecraft launched by India's most capable rocket, LVM-3, the Chandrayaan-3 lander carrying a rover within it will be carried into an orbit around the Moon by the propulsion module. A little later, the lander will separate from that module and will attempt to make a soft landing in the south polar region of the Moon. This region is of intense interest as it has many permanently shadowed craters which could contain water ice and precious minerals. Chandrayaan-3 lander has 4 scientific instruments or payloads, of which one will study the moonquakes, while the other one studies as to how the surface of the Moon allows heat to flow through it. The third one will study the plasma environment near the Moon's surface. And the 4th instrument will enable scientists to measure the distance between the Earth and Moon very accurately. The 2 instruments on the rover help us study the composition of the Moon's surface using X-rays and laser respectively. While the lander and rover will be in direct contact with each other, the propulsion module circling the Moon will observe the light coming from Earth, the only planet which we know which is definitely teeming with life. This observation will help in understanding the nature of distant planets circling stars other than the Sun. As Chandrayaan-3 undergoes important tests and gears up for launch, thousands of ISRO scientists, including those who will launch it, control it, and receive the precious scientific information from it using giant dish antennas, are readying themselves for the challenging tasks ahead. In the past, their dedication and skill have enabled India to earn praise from across the world and made it proud. Let us wish them well in this great endeavor called Chandrayaan-3.
आपके सामने हैं ISRO के अध्यक्ष
ISRO chief there watching the proceedings very intently. Dr. Singh, Surinder ji, talking about the procedures at this point of time, please share with us what checks and balances will be must be underway right now for the benefit of viewers, sir.
See, I'll just briefly tell you because before the launch time is very few minutes. What is done is from every subsystem there will be a monitor, okay, and a clearance is sought from there. The last clearance is sought from the spacecraft or satellite or maybe Chandrayaan, and then all the ground station clearances are sought. Then the one looks at the vehicle. All the parameters of the vehicles are, whether their pressure is proper, the temperatures are proper, and all the sensors are working, etc. Then, if everything clearance, then the mission director authorizes the launch. And after that, 10 minutes before the launch, it's handed over to the computer, and computer start doing the, what we call it, reverse counting. And if any the parameter is not found properly, computer can stop it. But the last thing is, I think it's around 1 minute or so, then computer also cannot stop. And it takes over, computer authorizes, once the mission director authorizes the launch, after 10 minutes, computer takes over, everything is done through computer. Computer checks everything, then the launch is done, ignition is done from the main rocket, then the strap-ons, and it follows it. If everything goes as per the desired orbit, nothing is done. If it deviates, then the mission director as well as the security officer, the range safety officer, can authorize to destroy the rocket. That's a normal procedure. But that happens in the extreme cases. And nowadays, it does not happen because there are a lot of inbuilt softwares, sensors, and everything is taken care by those things. So that's the brief listen. So a clearance is obtained from every expert. You see backside, a lot of persons are sitting on the monitors. When they clear, then only the mission director authorizes the launch. Once the mission director authorizes the launch, then it is handed over to the computer.
Yes,
and
sir.
the computer reverse counting.
Mission director has a short while ago has authorized the go-ahead, sir. The visuals were there on the screen. Mission director of Chandrayaan-3 giving go-ahead and authorizing the next procedure. Yes, indeed, Mr. Singh. Sujay, your thoughts on it? Obviously, the whole launch process, how the rocket carries the satellite first and then later on the procedures.
Right. So how the launch sequence. So let's compare it with other countries or countries like US or Russia does it. So they all have rockets which can carry more payload into orbit. So what we are using is a GSLV Mark III, or we call it now LMB3. So first, there are two phases for this mission. The first phase is the earthbound phase, where we will be orbiting at 170 to 36,000 kilometer orbit, and it will keep orbiting and it will keep raising its orbit. And once it reaches certain height, what happens is the gravity of the moon captures the satellite into its own orbit. So once that satellite gets captured into the gravitational field of the moon, what happens is the rockets which are on board slows the spacecraft down, and it becomes a circular orbit. So all these orbits will be an elliptical orbit, and the final orbit is in circular orbit. So they will have 100 into 100 kilometer circular orbit. Once that circular orbit is reached, the spacecraft will get detached. The lander will get detached from the entire propulsion module, and it will come and land on the moon on a soft landing. So basically, it is a propulsive landing. So what happens is the rockets on the lander will fire, and it will slow down the spacecraft in such a way that it will slowly, gently touch down. When I say gently, it is not literally gentle, but decent speed it will touch down. So that is where we had problem last time. So this time they have made some changes to the system where they have redundancies and things in place where it will land safely on the moon. Now, traveling from Earth, otherwise, what countries like US does is they can inject the satellite directly into a moon's orbit, or for us, we are still developing rockets which are more capable. In the future, we will be able to again launch the satellite directly into the moon.
Right. So Sujay and Mr. Singh stay with us, and yes, we are only a few minutes away from the launch, and there we see the people, and obviously the countdown time is there. We will be switching shortly to the commentary, also there from the Sriharikota Control Center. Mr. Singh, before we do
Gaining
that,
from
obviously,
the heritage of Chandrayaan 2, the Chandrayaan 3 is upgraded in several aspects for the enhanced robustness through extensive ground tests and simulation.
Onboard computer in flight mode.
ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस जारी है। इस दौरान सभी संचार तंत्रों की स्वास्थ्य जांच, बैटरी आवेशन पूर्ण किया जा चुका है। कुछ अंतिम गतिविधियां जैसे ऑनबोर्ड कंप्यूटर पर रियल टाइम प्रोग्राम लोड करना, पायरो लाइन को आर्म मोड में लाना, गैस टैंक्स का अंतिम आवेशन, और यह सभी घटनाएं संतोषजनक तरीके से पूर्ण की जा रही हैं।
-3 मिनट्स।
अब हम उड़ान से 3 मिनट की दूरी पर हैं।
Before the launch,
प्रमोशन
ISRO chief
तथा इस प्रमोशन की घटनाक्रम को पहले ही बताया जा चुका है। सर्वप्रथम दोनों S-200 बूस्टर प्रज्वलित किए जाएंगे T0 पर।
From several angles, ISRO would be beaming across the launch of Chandrayaan 3 and LMV-3 rocket taking Chandrayaan to the heights of the skies. And there we see people glued to their screens, many journalists also covering it.
S-200 के प्रज्वलन के 108 सेकंड के पश्चात L-110 जो कि
-2 मिनट्स
तरल नोदक पर आधारित चरण है, इसका प्रज्वलन शुरू कर दिया जाएगा।
And the commentator there is also narrating and listing step-by-step procedure that what would happen in the next few seconds, and after the launch what procedures are followed.
We are close to 1.5 minutes from the scheduled launch time.
सभी दर्शकों को ज्ञात है यह एक ऐतिहासिक मिशन होने वाला है। पूरे भारतवर्ष की आंखें इसमें हैं। इस यादगार पल के लिए यहाँ सब उपस्थित।
Almost as the viewers who have come from far and wide, last minute, anxious moments there.
-50 seconds.
All sequences armed.
Stage ready.
Minus
TB ready.
45 seconds. Minus 40 seconds.
L110 VHPP open. MOV
Minus
79
35
open.
seconds. Minus 30 seconds.
Real-time programs activated.
Minus 25 seconds.
L110 VSPP open.
Minus 20 seconds. Minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
Lift off normal.
Here we have a majestic liftoff of LVM-3 M4 rocket carrying India's prestigious Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft.
P2 tracking.
प्रज्वलन और सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन LVM-3 M4 रॉकेट का। यह भीमकाय रॉकेट आसमान को चीरते हुए अपनी भयानक दहाड़ से चारों ओर कंपन उत्पन्न कर रहा है। इसे हम यहाँ महसूस कर सकते हैं और यही दहाड़ है जो वैज्ञानिकों को रोमांचित करती है। LVM-3 के उत्थापन के साथ ही हमारे अंतरिक्ष यान चंद्रयान 3 की चंद्रमा की यात्रा प्रारंभ हो चुकी है।
As the rocket is soaring through the clear skies, every second moving closer to the accomplishment of the most important milestone in its mission to moon. Every Indian witnessing the launch live is content with the feeling of watching history in the making.
चंद्रमा की सतह पर अपना छाप छोड़ने के लिए चंद्रयान 3 अपने मिशन को पूरा करने निकल चुका है। वर्तमान में दोनों S-200 स्टेप ऑन बूस्टर सामान निष्पादन करते हुए अपनी निर्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं।
The S-200 motors thrusting simultaneously, generating a peak thrust of close to 6,000 kilonewtons in vacuum. They are made of HTPB-based solid propellant. 204.5 tons in each strap-on. Close to 2 tons of propellant being burnt each second.
S-200 स्ट्रैप-ऑन बूस्टर्स का कुल प्रज्वलन काल 126 सेकंड का है और अभी अभी घोषणा की गई L110 स्टेज का भी प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है।
Apart from the strap-ons, the core stage has also commenced its operation. This stage, based on combination
200 stages are separated.
of hypergolic earth storable liquid propellants UH-25 and N2O4. Now the S-200s have been separated.
घटनाक्रम के अनुसार इस यान से S-200 स्ट्रैप-ऑन बूस्टर्स को सफलतापूर्वक पृथक कर दिया गया है। यह काम सेपरेशन मोटर्स की मदद से किया जाता है। इसके बाद L110 तरल नोदक पर आधारित और विकास इंजन के साथ यह चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ अपनी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहा है। अब यान क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत है।
L110 stage performance normal.
The trajectory of launch vehicle is closely following the prediction.
Payload fairing separated.
जी हाँ, पेलोड फेयरिंग को पृथक कर दिया गया है यान से, क्योंकि यान अब 114.8 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर चुका है। इस चरण का कुल प्रज्वलन काल 200 सेकेंड होता है और इस दौरान यह करीब 1600 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणुद उत्पन्न करता है।
We are 220 seconds past the launch time. Current altitude is 135 kilometers. In the 200 seconds of its operation, the L110 stage carries the rocket up to 175.5 kilometers altitude and imparts a relative velocity of 4.18 kilometers per second, that is 250 kilometers every minute.
L110 stage performance normal.
LVM-3 M4 रॉकेट का द्वितीय चरण पूर्णतः सामान्य निष्पादन करते हुए इस चरण में कुल 113 टन के तरल नोदक भरे जाते हैं। N2O4 तथा UH-25 अर्थ स्टोरेबल प्रोपेलेंट को ईंधन के रूप में प्रयोग किया जाता है इस चरण में।
Stage ignition is authorized.
अगला चरण C-25 का प्रज्वलन भावी है।
+5 minutes.
L110 stage thrust cut off and separated to C-25 ignition command. 25 ignition confirmed.
That's a piece of really good news that the third stage has started its operation. The C-25 stage has been ignited.
जी हाँ, एक बहुत ही जटिल प्रक्रिया होती है क्रायो इंजन का इग्निशन और इसके प्रज्वलन के साथ ही तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट से गूंज उठा है मिशन नियंत्रण कक्ष। तृतीय चरण C-25 वर्तमान में प्रणोद उत्पन्न कर रहा है। पूर्णतः सामान्य, सभी तंत्र पूर्णतः सामान्य हैं।
118 kilonewtons thrust in vacuum is what the stage develops with its 28.6 tons propellant combination of liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. Present altitude is
performance normal.
तृतीय और यह अंतिम चरण है इस यान का C-25। यह क्रायो ईंधन पर आधारित चरण है जिसमें लिक्विड हाइड्रोजन, लिक्विड ऑक्सीजन का इस्तेमाल होता है। इसमें कुल 28 टन का क्रायो ईंधन पूरी सुरक्षा तथा सावधानी के साथ भरा जाता है। इस चरण में 186 किलोन्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न होता है और यह करीब 640 सेकंड तक प्रज्वलित रहेगा। इसमें दिशा नियंत्रण के लिए इंजन जिम्बल का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है। क्रायो ईंधन का विशिष्ट आवेग 446 सेकंड के करीब होता है।
currently the rocket is at an altitude of 210 kilometers.
+7 minutes.
While there is no much variation in altitude, this stage will add to the relative velocity immensely.
Cryo stage performance normal.
पेलोड के बारे में जानकारी देते हैं। लैंडर मॉड्यूल्स पे कई वैज्ञानिक प्रयोगों के लिए पेलोड्स लगाए गए हैं।
India's prestigious lunar landing spacecraft Chandrayaan-3 moving closer to its intended injection spot in the orbit. The propulsion module provides propulsion for earthbound maneuvers, translunar injection, and moonbound orbits. It also has a payload to study the spectral and polarimetric measurements of Earth and lunar orbit. The abbreviated name of the payload is SHAPE. Among the payloads of the lander module, the following are included. A Langmuir probe called Rambha to measure the near-surface plasma density, that is the density of ions and electrons, and its changes with time. The second payload is Chandra's Surface Thermophysical Experiment, or CHASTE, to measure thermal properties of lunar surface near polar regions. To measure the seismicity around the landing site and delineating the structure of the lunar crust and mantle, payload ILSA is there. The rover, after its descent, will further the scientific
Rheostage
study
performance
objectives
normal.
through its own payloads. For better understanding of chemical and mineralogical composition of lunar surface, LIBS or laser-induced breakdown spectroscope is included. Another payload is the alpha particle X-ray spectrometer.
जी हाँ, लैंडर मॉड्यूल में 3 पेलोड हैं, रोवर में 2 और प्रोपल्शन मॉड्यूल में 1 पेलोड भेजा गया है। चंद्रयान 3 के स्वदेशी लैंडर और रोवर में नितभारों का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। यह अंतर्ग्रही मिशन के लिए भी आवश्यक तकनीकों का प्रदर्शन करेंगे। लैंडर के पास यह क्षमता है कि वह चंद्रमा की उबड़-खाबड़ सतह में भी बड़ी सावधानी से उतर सकेगा और रोवर को बाहर लाने के लिए और संचार सुविधाएं प्रदान करने के लिए सक्षम होगा। चंद्रयान 3 के लैंडर और रोवर में कुल 6 नितभार हैं। रेडियो एस्ट्रोनॉमी ऑफ मून बाउंड हाइपर सेंसिटिव आयनोस्फीयर एंड एटमॉस्फेयर, जिसे शॉर्ट में रंभा कहा जाता है, यह चंद्रमा की सतह के पास प्लाज्मा के घनत्व तथा समय के साथ बदलाव का मापन करेगा। इसके बाद चंद्र सरफेस थर्मोफिजिकल एक्सपेरिमेंट चंद्रमा के ध्रुवीय सतह के आसपास की थर्मल प्रॉपर्टीज का मापन करेगा। इंस्ट्रूमेंट फॉर ल्यूनर सिस्मिक एक्टिविटी लैंडिंग साइट के आसपास के क्षेत्र में भूकंप जैसी गतिविधियों का पता लगाएगा। रोवर में चंद्रमा की सतह के तत्वात्मक विश्लेषण के लिए लेजर इंड्यूस्ड ब्रेकडाउन स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोप और अल्फा पार्टिकल एक्सरे स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोप इसका इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। एक बहुत ही दिलचस्प वैज्ञानिक निर्धार है शेप स्पेक्ट्रोपोलैरिमेट्री ऑफ हैबिटेबल प्लैनेट अर्थ, जो कि चंद्रमा से पृथ्वी से परावर्तित नियर इंफ्रारेड किरणों का विश्लेषण दूसरे जीवन सहायक ग्रहों को खोजने में मदद करेगा। वर्तमान में C-25 इंजन कार्यरत है और पूर्णतः सामान्य प्रदर्शन कर रहा है। अब हम प्रमोशन से 700 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। सापेक्ष गति 6.5 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड, ऊंचाई 191 किलोमीटर।
As we have told you about the Chandrayaan 3's upgrades in the aspects of enhanced robustness through extensive ground tests and simulation. During the last phase of landing, the module will have a vertical velocity of less than 1 meter per second and a horizontal velocity of less than 0.5 meters per second from a height of 3 meters. The lander legs are designed to be robust enough to thrive the impact. The cameras are tuned to take pictures ahead of the landing and enable intelligent decision making for choice of best location to land, avoiding craters and boulders on lunar surface.
Normal.
The successive pictures will also enable the craft to determine its horizontal and vertical velocity in real time. Laser Doppler velocity sensor is an upgrade in Chandrayaan 3 over its predecessor. It helps to determine instantaneous velocity of craft. Insights into the behavior of Chandrayaan 2 in the last few minutes of its descent has revealed to the scientists the necessity for upgrade in the guidance algorithm. Inputs from various sensors are used by the autonomous navigation guidance algorithm of Chandrayaan 3 to plan the flight path to the most suitable landing spot. The engines of Chandrayaan 3 are capable of more gradual throttling also.
वर्तमान में हम प्रमोशन से 817 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। करीब 950 सेकंड पर तृतीय चरण क्रायोजेनिक इंजन को शट ऑफ कर दिया जाएगा। और उचित अभिवृद्धि प्राप्त कर चंद्रयान 3 को यान से पृथक कर दिया जाएगा। चंद्रयान 3 को LVM-3 M4 द्वारा एलिप्टिकल पार्किंग ऑर्बिट में लॉन्च करने के पश्चात 170 किलोमीटर की पेरिजी पर क्रमशः
Stage
5 बार
performance
मैन्यूवरिंग
normal.
कमांड दिया जाएगा। 5वीं बार में यह पृथ्वी से चंद्रमा की ओर प्रस्थान करेगा, जिसे हम ल्यूनर ट्रांसफर ऑर्बिट के नाम से जानते हैं। फिर 5 अगस्त 2023 को यह चंद्रमा की कक्षा में प्रवेश करेगा और फिर क्रमशः 5 मैन्यूवरिंग के पश्चात प्रोपल्शन मॉड्यूल चंद्रमा की 100 किलोमीटर की वृत्ताकार कक्षा में स्थापित हो जाएगा। यहाँ यह उचित समय और अमृति में लैंडर मॉड्यूल को पृथक करेगा और 23 अक्टूबर 2023 को चंद्रमा की सतह पर लैंडिंग की प्रक्रिया शुरू की जाएगी।
Plus 15 minutes.
We have come close to 900 seconds after the launch. Currently, the seized
A proud moment indeed for ISRO, for India and for the whole world. And as the world watches on, the rocket carrying Chandrayaan 3 soars to the limits of the skies. By the month of August, it would be entering, 5th of August, it would be entering the periphery of the moon, the orbit of the moon. Mr. Singh, thank you so much for staying with us, sir. Your thoughts and the road ahead from here?
चंद्रयान 3 को प्रमोशन की कक्षा प्राप्त कर ली गई है।
Chandrayaan 3 satellite separated.
चंद्रयान 3
Chandrayaan has been separated from the third stage, so it's on orbit. Now it will depend on the propulsion module to take it to the, first we'll have 5 to 6 burns, raise the orbit, and then come to a perigee point. We get enough velocity to go to the lunar transfer orbit, and it takes almost 30 days to go. Then, next, what is most important is entering into the lunar orbit. At that moment, it
The
could be
launch has also
hyperbolide,
added
it
a
could be
feather in the
parabolide,
cap of
it could be
LVM-3
elliptical.
rocket. You can watch the jubilant congratulatory gestures of ISRO scientists in the Mission Control Center.
जी हाँ, चंद्रयान को सफलतापूर्वक अंतक्षेपित कर दिया गया है, लेकिन चंद्रयान 3 की यात्रा अभी जारी है। अब इस मिशन के बारे में हम अध्यक्ष महोदय से सुनेंगे और हम आपसे आज्ञा लेते हैं।
We sign off.
नमस्कार।
Up next is address by Secretary DOS, Chairman ISRO.
The Chief of ISRO.
Chandrayaan 3 has started its journey towards moon. Our dear LVM-3 has already put Chandrayaan 3 craft into the precise orbit around Earth. 170 by 36,500 kilometers was its intended target orbit, and it is precisely there now. And let us wish all the best for the Chandrayaan 3 craft to make its further orbit racing maneuvers and travel towards moon in the coming days. So let me wish all the very best to Chandrayaan 3 for its further journey towards moon. Before that, let me introduce the team behind this mission, the mission director, Mr. Mohan Kumar, and also the project director of LVM-3, and we have also the mission director for the Chandrayaan 3 craft, the project director of Chandrayaan 3, Veera Muthuvel. So over to them, Mohan.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Minister of State for Science and Technology and Departments of Space and Atomic Energy, Dr. Jitendra Singh, respected Chairman ISRO and Secretary Department of Space, former secretaries of the department, invited dignitaries, respected dignitaries and invitees. I am very happy to report here that the LVM-3 M4 vehicle has injected the Chandrayaan-3 satellite to the precise orbit, and once again the vehicle is proved to be the most reliable heavy lift vehicle of Indian Space Research Organization. Congratulations to the teamwork of ISRO family. I would like to appraise three things here. The vehicle systems are in the continuous process of quality improvement, especially in the event of our human rating efforts towards making the systems reliable. Secondly, the payload also, capability of the payload also is improved by mission strategies as well as vehicle engineering approaches. We are in the process of increasing the launch frequency of this vehicle considering the national requirements as well as satellite demands. Here, so many improvements we have incorporated in this vehicle. For example, the S200 nozzle, they are processed exactly as per the human rating standards, enabling us to have 100% NDT, and the inherent pocket erosion characteristics are removed. The L100 stage Vikas engine, mostly it is 100% qualified to be the human rated engine with indigenously developed LET throats, and the pocket, the back wall gas entry also is eliminated, and it is a perfect system. And CE20 stage also is perfectly, actually,
Good. So we will describe all those details later because of shortage of time.
Yes, sir. I take this opportunity to thank all the mission executives because mission executives for all the supports all along the launch campaign process as well as the launch. Once the launch manifest is released and mission executives are identified, really this is a penance of so many across the ISRO centers, our launch vehicle centers, VSSC, LPSC, IPRC, IASU, SDSC, SHAR, URSC and SAC, along with all our industrial partners, major players to the small-scale industries who supply us with all the deliverables in time, quality products, the suppliers of chemicals, propellant ingredients, suppliers of avionics systems, and our own GOCO facility operators. Actually, the industrial manpower is really our ISRO's virtual manpower. Everybody's efforts went into this, and also the prayers and best wishes of all our seniors, retired executives, everyone's prayers and our own family members. I take this opportunity to pray God Almighty for all the blessings in the form of this success, which was the penance by the ISRO family for last 73 days. And my prayerful pranams for the successful continuous operations of the Chandrayaan spacecraft, for its safe and soft landing on lunar surface and further experiments. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Respected Chairman ISRO, Center Directors, dignitaries and my team Chandrayaan-3, very happy to note that our Chandrayaan-3 has been injected into an intended orbit with very close orbital parameters. Congratulations and thanks to LVM-3 team. And all our spacecraft health parameters are normal, including the power generations in both propulsion module and lander module. Our journey to moon has begun now for the most awaited soft landing. We'll be closely monitoring and controlling the spacecraft from ISRAC Bangalore. Many critical events are lined up, starting from earthbound maneuvers, insertion into the lunar orbit, and separation of lander, and set of deboost maneuvers, and finally the power descent phase for a soft landing. I take this opportunity to thank Chairman ISRO, Director URSC, and all the center directors for entrusting me this opportunity, who have been the motivational and guidance force behind this mission. My special thanks to Chandrayaan-3 project executives, Associate Project Director Kalpana, Deputy Project Directors, Project Managers across the ISRO ISRO centers who have provided an excellent support in building the spacecraft. My special thanks to the expert committees for their constant guidance throughout the various stages of the project. I also thank the various work centers and industries who have contributed directly and indirectly to this mission. My special thanks to URSC council members, group directors, deputy directors across the ISRO centers, and looking forward for the soft landing with all your wishes and blessings from the God. Thank you.
We have our Honorable Minister for Space, Minister of State for Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, amongst us during this historic occasion of success of launching of LVM-3. So we would like to hear a few words from him. Over to you, sir.
It is indeed a moment of glory for India and a moment of destiny for all of us over here at Sriharikota who are a part of the history in making. Thank you, Team ISRO, for making India proud. And thank you, Honorable PM Narendra Modi ji, for having made this possible by unlocking the gates of Sriharikota and enabling the India's space sector. You would recall, Honorable Prime Minister had very recently said, sky is not the limit. And living by his words, I think the Chandrayaan today has gone beyond the limits of sky to discover the unexplored horizons of the universe beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, this day today, the 14th of July 2023, is also a day of vindication. Vindication of the dream that Vikram Sarabhai saw 6 decades ago. He might have been short of resources, but never short of confidence. And when we see those pictures of a launcher vehicle being carried on the carriage of a bicycle, without any remorse, without any slightest embarrassment, that is because Vikram and his team had faith in themselves, faith in India's potential, faith in India's acumen. And today, here, we are vindicating and we are reiterating India's indigenous capabilities, living up to the ideal of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And before I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, as Mother India enters into the next 25 years of this Amrit Kal, she pledges to play a leading global role in the emerging world scenario of 21st century. Thank you and congratulations once again.
Thank you, sir. We will also introduce the directors of the centers who have done all those great work of building the rocket, building the scientific instruments for Chandrayaan-3, the Chandrayaan spacecraft itself, and made all those critical systems, and also the agencies who are going to handle the rest of the mission part, the tracking and the ground stations, and all those teams are here. So I request the directors of those centers to join. First, Director of Vikram Sarabhai Space Centre.
Good afternoon, India. Last 1 year, this is the 10th mission, including the precise landing of the reusable launch vehicle. So with this mission, this is the 7th mission of LVM-3, the successful mission. With this, the success rate of LVM-3 is 100%, and this is the ideal vehicle for Gaganyaan. Some of the changes that we are incorporating in Gaganyaan, we have implemented here, and the Mark III has crossed the reliability of 0.9 and inching forward. So I take this opportunity to salute the entire ISRO community, especially the VSC community and all launch vehicle centers, industry partners for making the stages, making the sub-assemblies and testing. In fact, this is the third launch of LVM-3 in 1 year. You know, the realizing the stages, assembling, testing, and then launching 3 LVM-3s in 1 year is a Herculean task. I salute the industry as well as all the ISRO centers for this. And I wish all the very best. We know that when the beginning is good, the ending has to be good. I wish all the very best to the Chandrayaan for its solitary journey through the vastness of space and for making a feather-like soft landing in the 4th week of August. Good luck. Thank you.
Dr. Narayanan, Director LPSC.
Good afternoon to all of you. It is a historical event for Indian space program and a proud moment for all the Indians across the globe on this momentous occasion of the successful launch of the Chandrayaan-3. 3-in-1 spacecraft in the required orbit with the highest level of precision by our heaviest launch vehicle, LVM-3. After the 2 launches of LVM-3 vehicle this year, this vehicle is realized in the record shortest time. Today, once again, all the vehicle systems have performed, demonstrated the 7th successful launch. As you all know, the entire spacecraft community has put wholehearted effort during last 4 years, and we have realized a marvelous, great scientific satellite. For this mission, the entire vehicle performance is as expected, as predicted. In fact, the precision in which the satellite is launched shows the reliability of this vehicle. And we too have 4 liquid propulsion modules, 2 in the launch vehicle. The L110 stage, C25 stage, it has performed extremely well along with all other vehicle systems. We too have 2 more propulsion modules, one for taking the spacecraft to the moon, another one for soft landing. I think it is already well integrated, the system health is very good. Today's success is the culmination of the dedicated, smart and hard work of all the ISRO team members and the work culture of ISRO and the review process what we follow. I am sure all further mission operations will be a grand success and we'll have the successful soft landing. On this occasion, let me congratulate and compliment the members of ISRO team, our family members who have really sacrificed, the partners from industry and academia, and the various review fora. Thank you. Jai Hind.
The Chandrayaan craft was built at the UR Rao Satellite Center, so I request the Director of URSC to speak.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I take this opportunity to first thank my colleagues from the Launch Vehicle Center for providing a textbook-like launch for Chandrayaan-3 on its journey towards moon. Thank you very much. And as Director LPSC and Director VSSC mentioned, realizing this kind of launch vehicle, third launch vehicle within a year's time is indeed a Herculean task. And thank you very much for the effort that has been put by all the members of the launch vehicle community and the industry supporting them. Coming to Chandrayaan-3, Mohan was telling that it is a penance. In fact, it is a penance of the Chandrayaan-3 team for the last 4 years, which has come today as an outcome. It is sitting like a brain sitting inside the head of a human being on that mighty vehicle. On top of that, that satellite was sitting, and it was such a happy moment to see that satellite getting separated. And our work continues from now for the next 42 days till we reach the lunar orbit and touch down softly on moon. So we'll speak the rest of the things after the soft landing on top of moon. Till then, thank you very much for all the members of the satellite community and the industry for your support, which has been continuing over several years, and I'm sure will continue in future also. Thank you very much.
Space Application Center, Ahmedabad.
Well, the voices and the hands who have made this successful. ISRO Chief S. Somnath listing their names and their achievements. Obviously, a red letter there. Sujay, finally, the job is done. The rocket has actually done what it was intended, what it was supposed to do. Your final comments before we wrap up the show?
Right. So the launch part is successful. That is good job by ISRO. Now there are three important things which, when it comes to the Chandrayaan 3 or our future missions, there are three things which is around this Chandrayaan 3 mission. One is there is a lot of which is happening. There are going to be a lot of scientists who would be interested in space and who wants to build their career in the space industry, who would come up as a part of this mission. And it will pave our way for our mission to Mars. Hopefully one day we will have a mission to Mars which will soft land in the red planet, as well as possibility of mining the moon. And all these things are depending on the successful of being successful. I hope after 40 days our spacecraft safely touches down and make us all proud, and we are all waiting for that moment to happen.
Right. Thank you so much, Sujay, for speaking to us. All the very best to you and your team. And thank you, Mr. Pal, for joining us. Surendra Pal Singh, a former ISRO scientist, also was there with us. So obviously, a red letter day. What a proud moment. And obviously, the world watching India with bated breath. And the job is done. And now, in the month of August, in a few days from now, Chandrayaan 3 would be reaching the moon's orbit. And from there on, the gradual landing on the moon's surface would be attempted. Thanks for watching. We'll be bringing you up to date, minute by minute, whatever comes across from ISRO to our viewers. Would be bringing you all the latest from ISRO to you. Thanks for watching.